right. Yes, we are back. It is the CastWorthy Podcast, episode 131 and a half. This is part two to episode 131. I don't know what our producers just did with the double countdown. Sheesh. These guys, man. All right. So if you've been with us this morning, or if you've listened to the previous episode 131, that was our sports take. That was our playoff take on sports. We are gonna move on now and get into some more fun things. And we're gonna start with some bingeable stuff, man. People been sitting home again because of Omicron, and there's some good TV out there. Netflix is raising their prices, bastards.
Mm.
So VP, you get us started, man. What have you been binging lately?
On that, not only is Netflix raising their prices, HBO Max announced they're
Lowered
gonna
their
lower the
prices.
price.
Ooh,
You know what I
that's
mean?
Gangster.
Gangster as fuck, yo.
That's nasty. Damn.
Shout out to shout out to AT&T.
Shots fired.
Facts. But for me, man, for my bingeables, one tonight, Billions is coming back for season 6. It appears what they did was when they came back from their COVID hiatus, it seems like they filmed the remainder of season 5 and then went ahead and started on season 6 like right after. So the show only has been gone like 2 months, and now here we go with season 6. So we got that starting. What's that?
I'm so behind on that.
Yeah, me too.
So Billion season 6 returns tonight. The Righteous Gemstones, they're in season 2. It's basically kind of like a show like Veep, but it's like around like a mega church instead of it's with Jeremy McBride.
I wanted to watch that first season. It looked
very funny.
Is it funny?
Yeah, I like it, man. I love Jeremy. That guy is funny to me, Jeremy McBride, man. He's super funny.
I gotta watch that.
But yeah, that's I think they're on episode like 4 of season 2 right now. Something else that I watched, man. This wasn't actually like a show. It's just something that kind of like jumped on my timeline. I guess your phone spies on you and shit. But it was actually from the Eternals, and it was saying like the character or the actress Lauren Ridloff, who plays Makari, one of the Eternals, in the movie, she's deaf, but in real life the actress is deaf for real. I don't know if she's like is deaf like in the comics, but they had a little thing like saying like how she's black and Mexican, and she was saying like how on set she was struggling a little bit because some of the cues she couldn't get because she can't hear. And they were saying like there was one scene where they all had to be facing this wall and then like turn around at the same time, but when the director would say like okay now or whatever, she couldn't hear it because she's deaf. And so she was trying to like do a countdown in her head, and she was fucking it up. And she was like feeling emotional about it. And like over the filming, she kind of became tight with Angelina Jolie. And then Angelina Jolie came up with the idea of like, yo, why don't we use like a laser pointer? And then you guys point it at the wall when it's time to cut or to turn. So she sees it, and then you guys can take that out later using the CFX. And they're like, oh shit, that's a great idea, And so she was like, just that little small thing like helped her, helped her with bonding with with the castmates and things. But I thought it was super dope that they had somebody, who's deaf, playing in that role. So shout out to them, man, for
I want to bond with Angelina Jolie too.
Shout out to them for doing stuff with the disabled community, man.
You should tweet your shout out to her because she's probably not going to hear this.
Oh God! Wow.
I mean, just tell her you're a disabled vet.
5 minutes in, Steve trying to get us canceled.
Maybe I might be trying to catapult my comedy career here, man.
Oh my goodness.
I can see Steve. I can see you being a comic, man. You should try it.
No,
you should try it.
The other thing I watched was Insecure: The End. So they did like a 1-hour documentary like on filming the last season and kind of like talking about the show overall for the 5 seasons. I thought this was super dope, yo. Like I didn't realize how much of an impact Issa Rae had on the community, right? And during the show, they were saying like over the 5 seasons, they had a lot of first timers, right? So they had in the 5 seasons, they had 8 first time directors, most of them people of color. 7 of the writers who first time show writers went on to get their own shows. 6 of them are now showrunners themselves. Others have been hired and gotten their own projects, like just based off the work they did with Insecure. Fashion designers who, most of them people of color, people had never heard of, were doing the outfits for the show. They talked about how in season 5, episode 7, they made the decision to only use designers who were people of color for the entire episode, for all the clothes they wore, and shoes, earrings, clothes, whatever. Everything was made by people of color. And so I thought that was super dope, man, that they put on for the community in that way. And then they also talked a little bit about gentrification. And they were saying like how, I don't know if you guys remember that one episode when she first started dating that guy Nathaniel or Nathan or whatever his name is. And she took him to that taco shop because they were saying like how in the show, when they would show businesses, these were real businesses in LA, like real Black owned businesses, and that taco shop is a real spot. And so she was saying it wasn't all good because like sometimes like people would hit her up on Twitter and was like, yo, that taco shop, that was like our spot. And now you put it on blast. So before I would go and, it might be 6 people in line. And now I go and I got to wait 45 minutes to get a fucking taco because of your show. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? It's like, yo, like that's for your community. They put it on for your community. What the fuck you talking about?
I promise you the taco spot is not unhappy.
Right. Exactly.
Shout out to Issa, man.
Right, man. So, and then one thing before I get to my last bingeable that I wanted to kind of have a conversation about, and I know Steve probably had a lot to say about this, was they talked about the pilot episode. The show gets picked up by HBO. HBO's yo, we got this director, we got that director. Who you want to work with? Issa's like, she was telling them about the show, and it seems like they didn't get the show. And so HBO was like, I mean, we're HBO, we can have whoever we want, but you don't seem to like anybody we're coming at you with. So you tell us who you want to work with. So Issa goes and says, well, I'm interested in working with, that's the one thing I didn't write down in my notes was the director's name. But it was a female Black director who had only directed music videos, no film, no TV. But Issa liked her style and was like, I want to go with her. HBO was like, all right, have a meeting with her, see what's up, let us know, right? Issa sets the meeting up, and they talk. They had the chick on, the director, and she was like, yeah, I was at my people's house, I was out of town. The Wi-Fi wasn't that good, so I wasn't really like prepared. And Issa was like, so we had an interview. She was like, and I'm sitting there looking at my partner like, what the fuck? So she was like, the chick's agent hit her up like, yo, how'd the interview go? And she was like, she literally was like, what the fuck was that? You know what I mean? And the agent was like, yo, let me call her, please give her one more chance, And then when the chick came back, she was ready. Like, she had all these like, PowerPoint presentation, all this kind of, I guess, whatever kind of thing you would bring to the table as a director on how you want to do the show or whatever. And they ended up going with her. And it made me think about, like, sometimes for us, our people are quick to say, nobody gives us a chance. Nobody want to give us a shot. And now here you go. You got a shot from a Black creator. You are a first time director. And they're giving you HBO is probably the biggest thing that's happened in your career. And you're not ready for game time.
Who knows though what was going on though? Who knows? To be fair, we don't know.
To be fair, we don't know what was going on in her personal life. But I mean, if you're a director, you direct. HBO comes calling. Like, you got to be ready, dog.
Right. I directed a lot of stuff that they ain't pick up. You know what
I mean? Last night,
I wish
she was smoking hookah. That's what she was doing.
Yo, take me out to dinner.
But yeah, man, like we gotta, like, like, it's bad enough that we don't get chances at shit, but when we get our shot, you gotta be ready, dog.
True, but it worked out. It worked out.
Yeah, it worked out, no doubt. Like, they still, she still got on, but that shit, who knows, man? That could be the defining moment of her career, good or bad. True. You know what I'm saying? So
definitely paid now.
The last thing I want to talk about here for my bingeable, might get a little toxic. I wish we had a female that could be on to talk about this. But
You're
Great.
disabled. It's okay.
I was,
Right. Right.
you know,
You're
I've been one
safe.
of
Don't worry about us.
my last bingeable. You know, you guys know I've been watching and Just Like That, which is like the reboot of Sex in the City.
Oh yeah.
I heard about this.
So in the scene, I don't know if you guys watch Sex and the City, but it's Charlotte who's like
No.
the prim and proper one.
That's
She's like the
oh.
goody two shoe one with the
Oh
dark
yeah,
hair.
yeah. I know who that is. Okay.
So she's trying to get her husband to wear like this fitness tracker. It's like a ring, and she got the app on his phone and shit like that. Because remember it, or you guys don't remember, you want to show, but in the first episode, Carrie's husband has a heart attack, right?
Okay.
And
On a
so
Peloton.
Oh, on
the
this new
Peloton.
one, right?
Mhm.
She didn't
Yeah,
even call. She didn't even call 911, right?
No. So so she's trying to get him to wear this fitness tracker, you know, whatever. And so he's like, you know, it's a ring. So he's like, I mean, if you're gonna do it, you got to do it properly. So she gets on her knee and she's like, will you wear my fitness tracker? And he's like, all right, babe, you know. So he puts it on, and then while she's down there, he's like, hey, you know, while you're down there, you know, why don't you seal the deal? And so she's like, all right, you know. And then like she's getting ready to you know, top him off, and their daughter walks in, and so like that kind of becomes like a thing for the show. So she go to the restaurant, her and Carrie, and you know, the girls are talking, and she's like, oh shit, this happened, you know, da da da. She's like, I was getting ready to blow Harry, and they were like, wait a minute, you still blow Harry? Because in the show they're like in their 50s and shit, right? And so she's like, yeah, and they keep making a point like, wait, you still blow Harry? And
Why is that
Carrie's
foreign?
like, she's like, was it his birthday? And she's like, no. And she's like, is he dying? And I'm like, yo, hold up,
Toxic female energy, bro.
I'm like, this show that is geared primarily towards women is saying that there's like a fucking cutoff for fucking. I'm like, yo, what the fuck's happening here, duh?
Toxic female energy, bro.
So anyway, like I said, I wanted to bring that to the cast and talk about it. Like, you know, like what the fuck?
So go ahead, EJ. I mean, you're more in tune with 50-year-olds than us.
Aha. Listen, it's toxic female energy, bro. I mean, we you know, listen, this is the stuff that you know, guys back in the day said, I don't want you watching this nonsense because this stuff spills over into your real life here. Okay. You know, it's just terrible, man. I mean, you got to slob the knob forever and always. Got to. I don't know. Nothing else to say. It's nasty.
You would think. Fuck. All right. All right, Var. You set me up. Oh, you would think that they would at least do that. I mean, from everything that I've read online, the well dries up after a while, doesn't it?
No.
Like once they hit us. Oh,
No.
EJ, tell me all about it.
No, that is a myth, and it could not be further from the truth. You know, just hey, there's Blue Chew out there. There's all types of things.
not our well.
No, I'm saying because you got to keep up, because scientifically women get to their sexual peak as they get older. That's always been a fact. So yeah, I mean, I don't understand this episode. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't like it. Not a fan.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching, like, you know, I don't like the message this shit is sending here. You know, it's like, she was like, is it his birthday? Is he dying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like the man's last wish. Okay, all right, you know, you can get topped off. You know what I mean? But like,
so this is why EJ hangs out in those at the bingo night. EJ go to the casino and only sit outside the bingo area.
the slots, my brother. The slots.
Oh man, no, but yeah, I mean, listen. So all right, so I'm trying not to get too bad, like.
Talk to him, Steve. Talk to him, Joe.
So doesn't it goes two ways, right? It goes two ways. Is there an age that women would expect men to stop reciprocating? Like at 50, at 50, am I too old to put my face in your ass? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it's bullshit. I listen.
listen, just because you old and your knees is bad, you can't sit down on my face. Don't mean you can't figure a way.
Oh, that's where the bed or the something comes
It's
into play.
and they got to also recall, think about it like this. And I'm not talking about the show, but I mean in general, in real life. Like at 55 or 60, I don't know if y'all look at Instagram, but for a bag, I could probably get one of these little 23, 24-year-olds to go ahead and top off.
I'm done.
So
I'm done.
if you not, somebody gonna do it. Like, I'm just saying. I could get her a little Coach bag, you know what I'm saying? If I really want some good, go to the Birkin, you know. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, women put themselves in a situation. If they think like that, they can put themselves in a situation where they could be then crying back to her saying, "Oh, well, maybe I should have, blown hairy like you did." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me.
Listen. All right. I, I didn't know Vari was going to die on that hill today, but I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him for once standing up, rejecting his feminine energy and realizing fe- feminist. I'm sorry, feminist energy. And that's what I meant in my head. No disrespect, but yeah, I'm glad he took that approach today for the fellas today. I'm glad to have you back, man. It's been a long time. Bingeable wise, Ozark. I tried to restart it. I started season 1. I fell asleep again. Okay. I realize now that we're all at an age where we can't watch certain shit at night. Okay. So I didn't do it this time. I watched during the day and I still fell asleep. Like I rewatched the first episode was the best one of the season. And I'm midway through the first season and I'm falling asleep. It's just it doesn't hit me like everyone says. It's great acting, it's great writing, it's great. It's just boring to me. And everyone says, "Well, just get through season 1, it'll get better." Like, okay, I
Oh,
don't like it.
you've never gotten through season 1?
No, I had to go back and try to watch it again, and I still couldn't
Mm.
get through it.
You
It's
know,
over. It's overrated.
I don't know
It
if it's
it it,
overrated.
it puts me in that. It puts me in that space, Steve, that we have for Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad is trash.
Oh my
Um,
god.
but Breaking Bad, yeah. So, all right, Ozark does start slow, but I don't think it starts any slower than Game of Thrones.
I didn't think Game of Thrones started slow to me.
I didn't think
Yeah,
Game of Thrones started slow.
it starts super slow. Like I couldn't get into Game of Thrones until I saw them push Bran out the window. Like
I mean,
that's
but I
I
mean,
had
Steve, think about Game of Thrones episode 1. There's a beheading. There's some fucking incest, child murder. That's all in episode 1.
And it's in its realm. It's based in the fictional realm of. I mean, we looking at Ozark, and excuse me, episode 1. This everybody gets capped, but this dude to be like, "I'm going to Ozark. Has more shoreline than anywhere in the world." Oh, and he's like, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna let you live the fuck out of here." And then and later in that season, they go back to show you how when they actually get the contract and they get the job, he kills the last dude that was stealing from him in front of them. So why the fuck would this dude steal from him later down the line? I'm like, it's just, and I get people do stupid shit, but I'm just like, it's too phony to me. It's too phony to me. He gets down to the Ozark. This person dies. This happens. That happens. The feds are watching him. You got a gay federal agent smashing some dude in town to get intel. Like it's too phony. It's too phony to me. It's too phony. It's like Breaking Bad. It's like Breaking Bad. I couldn't get it. Couldn't get with it.
I like you guys want to like Breaking Bad. Oh, also, I started Wheel of Time last night. I watched the first like 5 episodes.
mm.
Uh, It's enough to keep me watching, but I'm not like super impressed.
You're not pressed. Yeah, I fell off of that. I was. Yeah, I'm not pressed on that anymore. But I'm still on my, I'm on my old school shit. Running down more of the challenges on MTV. Like that's my reality show guilty pleasure.
Steve's like, yo, I'm watching Casablanca. Shit's crazy, bro.
Yeah, he kills
Nah,
me. I told you Wheel of Time. I knew y'all probably because I like you. I watched it enough to stick to it, and it goes too hard at again trying to have this theme where women. I get it. I understand women empowerment. Women run the world. I get it, but it just goes too hard for me. And I mean, I watched it. I mean, you do get to see some nudity later, so that is a plus.
That part is not even a problem for me, EJ. My problem with Wheel of
yeah.
Time is that I still kind of don't know what's going on yet. Right? It's
Uh,
like
yeah.
I feel like this whole season has been like a setup. Like, you know, you watch a season, it's like the first 3 episodes are kind of setting up like whatever the drama, the tension's gonna be for the season to get you to like episode 12 in the finale. This shit is it's 9 episodes or something like that. I'm like on episode 5 or 6, and I feel like I haven't got past the setup yet.
I think Wheel of Time. Or do you? I think, and maybe you guys will think of this as well. It's in the same realm, um, as far as subject matter as Game of Thrones, but it's not nearly as good. So maybe because you're expecting, just like The Witcher, I did the same thing with The Witcher when it first came out. People were like, "Oh, The Witcher is the next Game of Thrones," so I'm like, "Oh, let me give it a shot." I start watching The Witcher, and I was like, "No, this is not
Yeah,
near Game of Thrones." So
same. I had the same reaction.
I wonder if because Game of Thrones set the bar, now coming off of the last season, we know where they ended, but they set the bar so high for a series that it's hard to take another mystical type of series like that and really sit down and be like, man, this thing is really, really good, or get kind of super attached to it. Because I was good for it for the first 2 episodes, but after that, I was like, no, it's just not doing it for me.
The Witcher season 1 was good. Season 2, I struggled to get into, and I got to go back to it. But the problem with the Wheel of Time, I think, is VP's point. It really takes some time to understand what's going on, and then it's kind of convoluted, and it's just I don't know. It's just one of those things. I think if you're a fan of that genre of stuff, you're gonna appreciate it for the baseline, but it's not really good. And the way it ended off made me feel, dissatisfied. So I totally agree. It's the writing. I mean, you can have these shows in a good space and do good things. You just got to make your writing make sense. And Game of Thrones, had a hell of a run. It was done really well, and I loved it. I'm looking forward to though. They got the Power of the Rings coming some point in time, which is going to be the Amazon series based on the Lord of Rings. People are killing it because of the title, but I'm a fan of that genre. I think we all are. So,
And it also could be that, I mean, fantasy is not like, I mean, besides Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, the Harry Potter, stuff like that. Like, there's not really a lot of fantasy that's kind of like super mainstream. You know what I mean? And then Game of Thrones kind of made fantasy cool. And it might be one of those things where like every network now is saying, we got to do some fantasy shit. Oh, here's this book series. Let's make that. Whereas saying, let's find a quality fantasy series and make that. And because the Wheel of Time is based off a book, from my understanding, and it is, I'm pretty sure the fans of that book series probably love it, but it don't seem that interesting to me.
Isn't there another Game of Thrones? Isn't the prequel or whatever
Yeah,
coming out?
the prequel.
When does that do?
It was supposed to come out last year, and then COVID
Was it?
pushed everything back. So I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I need to see when that's coming because that's based on the Targaryens, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's supposed to. The events in that was supposed to take place around 200 years before the events of the main story that we already seen.
Before Daenerys fucks everything up.
Yeah,
Bitch.
You think her mom is as bad as her?
Who?
Daenerys.
No.
Yeah, that that character went through some shit, man. From
Oh, I don't
Jason,
mean bad like that.
I know. I'm just thinking back because people were killing. Because Jason Momoa is divorcing the niece now, right? So people went back to his I guess Comic-Con interview or whatever it might have been on a panel where he was like, "I get to rape good-looking women," basically talking about raping
Oh,
Daenerys.
shit.
Yeah, and I it put me back to that scene. Like it's pretty fucking traumatic. Like
That was
Yeah.
a yeah. When you think about the timeline that she went through, woo, dog.
I'm like,
You know
whoa,
what was crazy about that for me? Like I didn't see the Comic Con comments. That's fucking crazy.
yeah.
But I mean, I guess it's a good thing he said that in 2010 versus fucking, you know, or I think it was 2010 when the show started. But yeah,
Oh, we've learned
what's
from Cosby.
what's funny
Ugh.
what's funny
Speaking
about
of that,
that is that that scene in the books doesn't go down like that. It's not a rape. Like in the books, like Daenerys is like all about it. You know what I mean? And
yo,
in
so
the
they
show,
intentionally went out their way.
yeah. So in the
Wow.
show, they made it seem like that. Like she didn't want to do it and he forced himself, you know what I mean? But in the books, like she was all like in the books, um um Daenerys, she's like all about her sexuality. She's bisexual in the books. She's having sex with men and women and shit. You
I
know what I
like
mean?
that. I
And
like that.
so the show just like completely,
Punk ass HBO.
changed that character up.
Yeah, or maybe she just wasn't with it. The person that acted
The
as her.
actress.
Yeah,
That's something
Could
I
be.
feel like you needed to get ahead of time. Like,
yeah.
hey,
Bill. Never
I,
mind.
oh, buddy. Speaking of Bill Cosby, though,
Man, y'all boys getting toxic this
Kamal,
morning, boy.
what is it?
I don't know what
Kamal
just got in
Bell.
here.
What's his name? Kamal
Who?
Bell. What's his name? The guy, the stand up guy with the hair. Camille Bell. Last name Bell. Something I never knew how to pronounce his first name, but
Sure.
he's doing a Showtime documentary on people's I guess people that work with Cosby. Just basically, let's talk about Cosby. I posted it in the chat, and that's coming out. And you're gonna have some people I think that worked with Bill and just people in the industry. None of the people I think actually from none of the main people from the Cosby Show. Let me say that are gonna be speaking on it, but basically gonna be just talking about how Cosby was a scumbag. So it
D-
seems.
W.
Oh,
Kamal
I know you're
Bell.
talking about the dude from
Yeah.
CNN, Kamal Bell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got one of them names.
Oh, so he's trying to Michael Jackson Cosby the way Oprah did Jackson,
Yeah.
or try to do Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to get canceled. It's a quick way to get canceled. Um, I probably won't watch it, man. I'm still watching the Cosby Show. I'm gonna watch the Cosby Show forever.
I don't
Bill
have a problem
Cosby.
watching the Cosby Show.
Yeah, I mean, listen. He showed you how to be a father. He showed people
I
how to be a
mean,
father.
you it's we said this at the time when the stuff was happening. Like you can separate the art from the artist, right? And so when I back before COVID, the last cruise we did was like right around the time when the R. Kelly documentary and shit. Everybody was talking about getting rid of R. Kelly,
I knew you were
and
going there.
on the cruise
Step in the Name of Love came on.
they were still bumping the music. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you can do it. You can do that as a person and say, I'm going to separate the art from the artist. If you decide not to, like I've talked about me personally, there's shit that Kanye's done politically that I don't like, and I don't listen to his music anymore. That's a personal choice for me. In that case, I didn't separate the art from the artist. But in a case by case basis, I'll still watch Cosby Show. I still listen to R. Kelly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially when you're talking about great art, great artists, great catalogs. Like R. Kelly's catalog is different. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like Bill Cosby, his catalog is different. You can cut off somebody who has one or two albums that may not be great. They might have 10 good songs, or you can cut someone off who maybe had one or two good movies. But to cut off, these guys who are historic in our culture, granted they did some scumbag shit, allegedly on one of them.
Which one is Oh man.
Oh.
Um. Yeah. So he's coming out with that. And it seems like he's gonna be. It seems like they're gonna be going that bill. I mean, I love the bill. Maybe not for the Cosby so much, but for a different world. Um.
Hmm.
The Cosby's. I. You know. I wasn't inside really to catch a lot of that at times, but a different world was something that hit me, in going forward in life and what I wanted to do when I actually did get on it. And yeah, I mean, Felicia Rashad is, always stuck by him, and same
Right.
with,
And if there's
Jamal.
anyone that you're gonna,
Yeah,
Felicia is it.
yeah.
Like Felicia, she's still fine. She like 75. She's still,
Hmm.
I sound like EJ right now.
If you know, like I know.
Um, you said Kanye, you stopped following him and listening to his music because he made some political remarks. Um, on that front, political front, we got an announcement. I think it was yesterday, or maybe the day before. You can correct it. That Joe Biden plans to rerun in 2024, and he plans to take Kamala with him as his
Kamala.
running mate. Same difference.
Yeah, not really, but yeah.
You know, I speak the Queen's English. Um, uh,
Cut it up. Cut the show off. I can't.
do you think there's gonna be how do you think it's gonna fare, man? Like we we had a discussion about it, VP. Um, what what chance do you think Joe has of actually, being successful?
Let me go before
Today, we still have
before he goes on his Democrat savior cape on, because he knows this and I know this. Joe running for 2024 is bad for the Democratic Party. He's lost. Democrats have lost faith in him, the administration. He's an old, grizzled man that shouldn't be there now, and he shouldn't be there in 2024. And we're gonna need somebody very strong, forward thinking, astute enough to battle what we're going to be facing on the right.
we don't know.
Joe captured some votes, this time around, but we don't know what we're going to be facing going forward, and I think it's going to keep the Democratic Party stagnant if Joe comes again. Pause. But I don't know who will be a better candidate to go in his stead. So maybe
Right.
VP will have a better option, but yeah, I don't know.
So this week, when I think it was on like Wednesday, Biden had a press conference and they asked him, was he going to run in 2024? And if he runs, is Kamala Harris going to be his VP? And sorry about that. I had to get one out.
Had a
But,
hairball?
no, I had to burp. Felt probably better to mute myself instead of putting it in the mic. But yeah, so he asked him that. They asked him that at his press conference, and he answered. He just said yes and yes. And the reporter's like, "Do you care to elaborate?" And he's like, "What the fuck's there to elaborate on?" Like, like you asked me, "Am I going to run?" I said, "Yeah." Is Kamala going to be my VP? I said, "Yeah." Like, fuck else we got to talk about.
Mhm.
And they continue to ask him this because in the media, for some reason, they like to fantasize about stupid shit, right? So in 2010, they started the whole, all these stories about how Obama was going to drop Biden off the ticket and put on Hillary, and now Biden may drop Kamala and put on Hillary, or Kamala may challenge Joe, and all this other bullshit or whatever. It's clickbait. You know what I mean? Like, Biden's going to run for re-election as long as his health permits him, and Kamala Harris is going to be his VP nominee. Like, there's no question about it. There's no doubt in my mind.
What do
Now,
you feel that? What does that do to the Democratic Party's chance of one, winning, and then two, just going forward, like the faith that people have in it or lack thereof?
right, and that's why I was going next. Joe's not a very exciting candidate. He's an institutionalist. He for some reason continues to have faith in the other side. He acts like as if Republicans are negotiating with him in good faith. He acts as if he can't see what's actually happening in front of him. This whole thing with Manchin, I'm like, Manchin stringing you along. He's not going to vote for that shit. He just continues to get you to make concessions, and he's getting himself to no. You know what I mean? Like he's not trying to get to yes. Like I don't like move on. But he continues to see the good in people, and I guess that's not a bad thing for a president. But at the same time, it's making you not get shit done. And me personally, because I follow politics, Biden's gotten a lot of shit done in this first year. A lot of the shit that he's gotten done is a lot of stuff that the average person doesn't necessarily care about. You know what I mean? People are continuing to talk about, student loan debt, voting rights, and things like that. You know what I mean? And they want to see these things get done. And these are the big ticket items that aren't getting done. And so it makes it appear that his presidency is stagnant and nothing is happening. And I think that will be I think that's going to be bad for Democrats in the midterms and then moving forward into 2024. I think the Democrats are going to lose the House in November. I think they have a better shot at maintaining the Senate than most people are
Giving them credit.
Giving credit for.
Mhm.
But I think the chances are greater than 50% that they lose the Senate, but I don't think it's like a guarantee. You know what I mean? But I think that they just with pure gerrymandering, I think that they're going to lose the House. And who knows if they retain the Senate. And but the last thing I'll say on this too is that part of Biden's problems aren't just his problems alone, right? Biden is fighting a media that reports on things that are happening in the administration as if they're just catastrophic. As an example, I put a post in the chat the other
That
day
New
from
York
the New
Times.
York Times, which is supposed to be the paper of record for America, right? That's how it's not like a real thing. It's kind of like how the Cowboys are America's team. Like the New York Times is supposed to be the paper of record, right?
That's a real
And
thing.
and they did a story about how a guy who is a options trader, meaning this guy is a finance guy, went to Chipotle. He doesn't go that often. The last time he went, this burrito that he eats was $8, and now it's $9. He turned around and walked out. What the fuck are we talking about here, dog? Like the cost of a burrito changed by $1, and because of that, you weren't gonna be able to pay your mortgage. Like, are we like, come on, dog? But these are the kind of stories that get oxygen, right? And people say, well, how come he hasn't solved COVID yet? Like he said it was going to be his number one priority. I mean, there's like 40 million people who won't get vaccinated in the country. Vaccine mandates. Biden cannot issue mandates. We govern with local power in this country. That's the way our country is set up. So things like mandating vaccines, that's a state government issue, right? At that same press conference, a reporter asked them, there are a lot of people that feel like, Democrats are closing schools. They can't go to work because their kids can't go to school. Biden has no control over school closures. Zero. I don't mean like, there's some things none.
But I think
But they bring it to him as if it's his fault that schools are closed.
the things that you hit on, though, the undying, relentless belief to be an institutionalist and think that things are what they aren't, and believe in the other side, to allow Manchin to keep screwing them over, to not land the landmark things that other Democrats wildly went on their tickets. Which, if you do these things, you have the power to do the student loan thing. You if you hit those things, a lot of Americans ain't gonna be saying shit. They not, and it's cool to knock off these B-list things that in the scheme of infrastructure and the institution as it is makes sense. But here's the thing: we know that the institution as it is 200 years old plus, right? And a lot of things that work on paper that was established then aren't what should be always now, i.e., how you feel about bearing arms, etc. Right? So there are things that you can do in 2022, Joe, that will make every American, regardless of what they really want to say about you, you're gonna make them feel better if you do it.
No, I think that you're absolutely right. And as you know, after having Trump, right? Like people were talking about, getting back to normal, right? And I'm fine with getting back to normal in a lot of instances, right? Like the president shouldn't be involved in, telling the Justice Department who they should prosecute and things like that, right? That's normally the president's normally been hands off with dealing with criminal law, that kind of thing like that. You know what I mean? But there's certain things where it wasn't like the norm to do back then. But sometimes, you got to swing your dick around. You know what I mean? Let me give you an example. Louis DeJoy, who's the postmaster general, the guy who runs the post office, right? He's still in office. Why? Now Biden can't fire him. Under the law, only the board of governors can fire him. Biden has put in place all his people on the board of governors on all the open seats. So the Democrats have a majority of open seats.
Nudge them to do what they need to do.
Fuck nudge. Why hasn't Biden been out there saying this guy needs to fucking go? You know what I mean?
Even what you said, what they didn't do with Manchin
on Tuesday, EJ, like this week Tuesday, like 5 days ago, I got a letter in the mail informing me that I got a $1,400 stimulus. We got stimulus last February. I just got the letter in the mail on Tuesday. That's Louis DeJoy. You see what I'm saying? And so, my sister-in-law sent Christmas presents. She sent them from Wisconsin to Florida. We got them last week. So why isn't Biden out there saying? And I get it. You're institutionalist. You want things to go normal.
That's a problem.
But the thing is that when people see you fighting, because when you change, I don't know, some big policy, you can make some changes at the EPA on air quality and stuff like that. And I breathe. I'm human.
Great.
I appreciate air quality being good. That's awesome.
We love it.
But it's not something that's front of mind for me, right? When I hear you say, hey, this fucking post office guy is fucking up and he got to go, me as a normal citizen is like, yeah, I got this fucking letter like 8 months late. I haven't got my Christmas presents yet. Like, yeah, this motherfucking, I'm with that. You know what I mean?
When you're 70 plus and you're tone deaf, that's the problem.
He has to get his public team out there, and they have to highlight stuff, right? And it has to be timely. You have to think about how dumb Americans are, right? When you dumb stuff down, they're thinking, like we talked about previously multiple times. Oh well, gas prices are up, right? Gas prices are up, inflation is bad, blah 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 blah. Yet you got, no one's complaining about the child stimulus check that you're getting. They're not complaining about that.
They don't. It's going away.
Well, now it's going away. They're not remembering that extra money that they got. Right now, you talk about Louis DeJoy, and you talk about the mail. Where do you highlight that? You highlight that timely. You wait until W-2 time, right? When people are not getting their W-2s timely, that's when you come out and you put a statement out and say, hey, this guy needs to go, and this is the reason. This is impacting the United States and the Americans and so on, right? Because that's what people are going to think of. It's close to their heart. But is his team going to do that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What are they going to highlight? They're going to highlight, oh, well, we're dealing with the coronavirus that started in Wuhan. Asians are getting beat up. Let's make sure we highlight that we've put in place that it's illegal to target Asians. I agree with it 100%. But you pander to black people for 2-3 years to try and get Trump out of office. You made sure you went to every single fucking black neighborhood and
radio syndicate,
talk show, radio syndicate, and you made it clear, hey, I'm here for you guys. I'm here to support you guys. All right, and maybe so. You might be legitimate in that, but you haven't done shit for us, specifically for us. Now, have we benefited from some of this stuff? Absolutely. But there needs to be something specific, just like you did when you came out and said, hey, you can't target these individuals for this specific reason, which, again, I agree with, not saying that it shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, Joe is tone deaf. The problem is Joe has been tone deaf. He's coming from that administration where, Barack couldn't do but so much, even what he had to do for people of color specifically, etc. He's an institutionalist. He looks at everything in America as it should be on paper. We're all American. We all can pull up our bootstraps, but there are disparities. There's things going on. There are issues. You've seen what we've endured with Trump, and just the attitude and the culture of the nation. We need big wins. We don't need you to do minor things that set infrastructure back in place, especially when your pussyfooting around can possibly set it up to bring someone else in who's gonna do all that shit anyway. You
Right.
might as well pull the trigger now and set us right to get shit going forward, and you energize your voter base that's out there, that was on the fence this time, that was on the fence the first time, and now here we are, because it's just bullshit, man. And this is why I loved Warren, I loved Bernie, because at least they told us they were gonna do these things. Whether or not they were actually gonna do it, who knows, whatever. But Joe, now is the time, like you said, VP. Bring the big stick out. Teddy Roosevelt, these motherfuckers, man. Get shit done. Or FDR, whichever one it was. One of those Roosevelts.
Teddy.
But
Walk softly and carry a big stick.
Hit him now. What are we doing? Hit him. I mean, it's just, I'm tired of shit, man. And I don't want to run in 2024. I don't have any confidence in him, because I need you to do what you need to do for me now. Do it for me now.
Right.
You want to run in 2024? Do it now.
Right. And I mean, the infrastructure thing was big, right? No doubt. It's, the largest infrastructure package in the United States history. But we've seen voting rights targeted at, poor people of color in these states that are crucial, right? Around the country, period. But in these states that are crucial on the national level. And what's going to end up happening is that, people in Florida, in Georgia, in Texas, they're gonna have the nicest sidewalks to wait 12 hours to vote. You know what I'm saying? That don't make no sense. Like it's the new year, and a lot doesn't get done in election years, but he needs to. They need to get on the fucking ball. And I don't know. He's hired a lot of people who are old hats, long in the tooth, is experienced in Washington and things like that. And obviously he got his own political notions and things like that. But they need to change the game, man. Like like the shit that they're doing is not exciting people. Like to your point, Steve, about talking about the joy. I wouldn't highlight necessarily W-2s, right? But you could say, it's Christmas gifts. Post office are delivering less than 70% of their packages on time. That impacts Christmas. That impacts businesses when businesses have to get supplies delivered in order to make sales. That impacts jobs, the economy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? And you talk, hey, I got this letter from Brenda from Michigan that talked about how they couldn't get whoop, whoop, whoop done. Here's a letter from this person from fucking Utah who can't get their insulin delivered on time. They could die. This motherfucker got to go. And if you don't get rid of him, then I'm going to start firing you motherfuckers, which I can do at the board of governors, and replace you with somebody who will fire him. Like it's time. Like I said, as president, you got a big fucking dick. It's time to swing that shit, yo.
Whoa. That can we make that a real?
It's 2022. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's going in. Pause. It's 2022. To your point, in election years, there's not a lot that goes through.
Hey,
I think Joe has a lot of work to do in order for us to be confident in him as a candidate in 2024. He's got a lot of work to do.
Just drop the bomb, man. Just drop the fucking bomb. Like, yo, canceling. I know people don't give a shit. I know it's a capitalistic society. Everybody has their bootstraps and they make decisions, but we know historically predatory loans. We've seen recently, how companies and states and institutions have fucked people over and making them take out more than they should, etc., etc., etc. Wipe the fucking slate clean, okay? Put in provisions going forward to say, If you're an American and you need money for college, you can't afford that shit. You can't get this. We know that's what needs to be done, right? We also know that our institutions of higher education, a lot of it is a scheme. A lot of it, you're paying more than you should be. We have somebody, Senor, talks about this shit to a science. We know now that the generation of parents now are much smarter than those prior. We know these things because they didn't know. They didn't go to college, right? Wipe the slate clean. You want people to have a better way of life. These are people that working Americans that have tried to do the right thing and they want to pay back into society. Wipe the fucking slate clean. Do something for the people. After 4 years of enduring fucking Trump, give us something. Give us something.
And Biden has said he doesn't believe he has the legal authority to wipe out the 50K in debt.
Because he's an institutionalist. He's a liar.
But here's the thing, though, right? You do that shit, and then people sue, and the Supreme Court says you can't. Then you run on it and say, elect us, and when we get in office, we're gonna pass a law that says we can wipe out this 50 grand in debt. You know what I mean? And that energizes people to do what? To go fucking vote.
Take it all.
You know what I mean? Like this shit is not rocket science, yo. You have to give people shit to vote for. You know what I mean? Like you ask me, hey, why would you support one of these Democrats? I can name you 5 policy things that I think that have gotten done that have been good from the country, right? Regular people who are just living their lives, they don't follow politics the way that I do. You know what I mean? So when you ask them, hey, you voted for Biden last time? Yeah. Are you going to do this time? They're like, I don't know. Why? Man, this didn't get done. This didn't get done. This didn't get done. Nothing's getting done. As far as they can tell you, nothing's getting done. Biden's basically been on vacation for a year. You know what I mean? So you have to do shit. You got to take big swings. And if you don't get it, then you basically promise to change it in law.
Yeah.
And what have we always said about the Republican base? Even when the things they vote for is literally killing them, whether they're voting for the big people to get tax breaks and the little people, like many of them, to get stepped on, that their politicians at least make them feel heard and understood. We don't get that in the Democratic Party. Kamala ran on the chucks and all of the voting and all this bullshit. Okay, well, there have been some minority groups in this world that, based on their prior treatment, ancestral treatment, right, they receive reparations. Joe Biden said, well, you ain't black if you don't vote for me. Well, what the fuck as a black person have I gotten for voting for you?
I mean, I'll one up you from there. I haven't seen Kamala Harris since she got in office. Now, granted, the vices, it's rare, right? It's, they're usually behind the scenes and shit like that. And that's understandable. But I haven't seen her. You was out here. You was in these streets. You had your little Chuck Taylors on. You was super black. You was fucking two-stepping. Like, where you been at?
She's buying pots in France, yo.
Where you been at? Where you been?
Buying pots in France.
She hasn't been in the community. I mean, I think that's where you're going.
That's what I mean.
She's buying pots in France, B. That's what she's at. She's buying $300 pots in France. It's all good.
She did a Charlemagne interview. Like,
no,
that's the extent that I've seen
that went bad. That went bad, nonetheless.
Well, no, she's been out there. Like, EJ probably knows this. He lives there. She's done events at Howard. She's been to a few HBCUs over the last couple of months.
Howard.
She better be. She a Kappa.
Yeah, so I mean, she's done some
difference.
But part of it too, though, is that what you have to understand, and I get Steve's point, and Steve's point kind of goes into the point that I'm making, right?
Especially for 2024,
is that why hasn't she been in the community? Right now, me being a political nerd, I can tell you that normally when you get into office, the president lays out what his agenda is going to be. And there are some things that he puts on the vice president's plate. And while he's still in charge of all of this shit, the vice president is kind of the point person on it, right? And the things that he's put on Kamala's plate has been dealing with, the northern triangle, which is people coming in from like Honduras, Guatemala, and Nicaragua through Mexico to the southern border. things like COVID response and that kind of shit like that. On top of that, Kamala's been super busy in the Senate because Republicans are refusing to vote for anything for Joe Biden. So a lot of things that are coming like to 50-50 ties, Kamala has to be there to break the tie. That's one of the vice president's role as president of the Senate, right? But again, to the point I made earlier, I'm a political nerd, so I know these things. There's a YouTube channel that I follow that basically tracks the movement of the vice president and president daily, from the time they get on the helicopter, to the time they land, the motorcade, the speech, all this shit. So I'm seeing her out there, but people who live their lives, they're not watching that shit. They're asking the question that Steve is, man, they were pandering to black people. Now I don't see them nowhere. You know what I mean? So
maybe instead of sending COVID tests, they just send a pair of Jordans to every black household.
Oh God.
A Gucci belt or some shit. Like they got to get us back out there. You losing us. Listen, you're losing me. I'm gonna be out there just because it's the right thing to do, but it's not. I'm not gonna be out there because I support them. Like that's the biggest piece. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm gonna be out there because they're the better option.
Right. And basically what you're saying, like I've said this countless times, right? Politicians will always tell you when talk about enthusiasm, they say an enthusiastic vote counts the same as an unenthusiastic. It's one vote, right?
Yep.
But the enthusiasm, as I've said countless times, is me, right? 2008, first time I ever went to a political rally, Obama. First time I ever donated to a political campaign, Obama, right? I went out and registered voters, talked to the family, phone calls, texts, Facebook messages, on and on and on and on and on. Vote.
Now we don't have shit to be excited about.
Right. 2016 for Hillary, I wasn't really feeling it. So I voted. My wife voted, but that was it. I didn't, no donations, no phone calls, no texts. Lost. I voted.
And she barely lost. If you were enthusiastic and took the same approach that you did with Obama, she probably would have won. Not just you,
not just me, but people.
Yeah, that's a general statement.
And if we had confidence in the candidate, that was the problem. We didn't have confidence in the candidate. People the right can talk about Benghazi and hey, a lot of some of that shit that they were talking about made some sense because some of it. I said some of it.
No, all of it. It was bullshit.
Okay, fine. Well. Again, yeah, we didn't have confidence in her. I mean, you let the
Secretary of State doesn't control military responses.
Don't. Well, so I guess it circles back was what EJ's getting to. At 50, if she was giving Harry a blowy, then maybe
we wouldn't have been in this problem.
Wow!
How do you let the president?
I didn't connect the dots. I didn't know he was going.
President not get topped off? Huh?
I wasn't connecting the dots. Oh shit!
You've already said it. You've already said it. You got a big dick. Sometimes you got to swing it.
See?
Oh man, I didn't connect them dots.
See, Hillary got too big, man. She got
There's a lot of work. There's a lot of work to be done, man. I hope that they get on the ball in this next year and a half to 2 years, and because there's work to be done. And the biggest piece for me is, right, like I said, I'm gonna be there because it's the right thing to do and it's the better. It's the lesser of two evils. But to your point, Vari, enthusiasm, and what can I say when somebody says why? Hey, why?
Just practically, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My answer is going to be, well, it's a lesser of two evils. I want
at this point, we're only voting what we historically believe to do is right because what we've seen the right to be on and all of that kind of shit. But when you talk to the political cynical people that don't believe in any of this shit, they get proven to be more right every single day when they're like, oh, there's no difference. Granted, those of us that may read between the lines, but when you're talking about the everyday citizen, what is gonna be the difference for them? Fucking my gas is still high. I'm still affected by COVID.
Listen,
I still have insurance bills. Like what is
listen, that? Gas is up, burritos are up.
Gas prices.
Gas is up, but people don't know that. Gas is up, burritos are up, but my investment portfolio is down. Maybe I do need to go left.
You mean right?
Right, rather. Maybe I need to be right instead of being left.
and I mean those are good points, and they all go to, you know, to the point that I said a second ago, and I've consistently said it's about people's understanding of things. You know, the president doesn't control gas prices. You know, the president doesn't control inflation, and I can argue that the fact that gas prices are up or burritos are up are actually a good thing. You know, I can make that argument that's a good thing for Biden, right? Fucking that means that people are out spending money, right? Which is why you can't get anything, which is making the economy better, right? I could also argue on the flip side and say we spent a year indoors because of a worldwide pandemic. And now that everybody who was flush with cash because of stimulus and all those things like that, who weren't spending money for a whole year because they were stuck inside, now they're outside spending money. And now that's why there's no shit on the shelves, right? But people don't connect dots in that way. They say, I went to get a burrito and it cost 20 cents more. Biden got to go.
But,
You know
but
what I mean?
you can't blame people for having that linear way of thinking
I'm
because
not blaming them, but
yeah, I
I'm just
know,
saying
but
that.
it's practical. And here's the
Yeah.
thing: there, at the end of the day, whatever he can control, whatever he can't control, there are things that he can do that he's
no doubt.
refusing to do because he's an institutionalist. And the
No doubt.
problem here, Joe, you're thinking like a 70-plus-year-old white man. And let me tell you something, buddy. That isn't the country today. Okay, you did one thing for one community. Now there's a bunch of other people, white, black, wherever they are, that can benefit if you just do what you need to do. And that's the
Just
bottom line.
Just white federal tax for black people, man. That's the reparations we need.
That
Does
ain't
it?
never happening. Taxes
I
ain't
know
never going nowhere.
you and I know that. I'm just saying. You ain't gotta give me no money. Just tell me I ain't gotta give you no money, and I will be okay.
Shit.
I'll be okay. Ah, man.
In short, the CastWorthy podcast at this juncture is not exactly happy with Joe Biden running for 2024.
Well, 2/3 of us, 66.6%.
I mean, I don't know
of
who
us.
else is out there, so I don't know.
I'm what my girl is, man.
And so that's the
Yeah,
other.
man.
Yeah, I don't know. I won't. Yeah, I don't know.
There won't be. Let me tell you something, and you guys know
Ooh, we
how I
about to
feel
get
about.
toxic.
I honestly don't think that a woman will be elected until we get a woman in the job as a result of something else. The country is the country is more sexist than it is racist. I've always felt that we would have a black president before we had a woman president because the country is just sexist, right? So in order for a woman to be elected, I think that we would need a situation kind of like we have now, where let's say Biden stepped down for a health reason or something like that. Kamala assumed the presidency. People see a woman in the presidency, and it would have to be a woman in the same vein as an Obama, where the person has like a good marriage, they got good kids, you know, and they present well for people to say, I could do that again. You know what I mean? And I just don't think that even if Michelle ran, I don't think that she would win. I think the country, I think people can't see themselves voting for a woman at the end of the day. I mean, people will say it in polling. You know, people will tell posters, yeah, I'm not racist, I'm not sexist, and then get in the booth when they're in privacy and they won't pull the switch for that person. I think somebody has to get in the job another way before we actually elect a woman.
Kamala won't win because black women won't vote for her.
Kamala's a shitty candidate.
Because she
she
no,
is.
I mean
it is
no,
what it is.
what I mean is if something were to happen to Joe and she was to jump in and start fucking just making differences, far stretch, I know. She wouldn't win if she ran because she's got a white husband. She's gonna lose a lot of our vote because of that. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just being candid and being realistic. She's gonna lose our vote.
Okay. I think she's gonna lose because of her interview on Charlemagne's show.
No,
I think she would lose because she's a terrible candidate. She's bad on the stump. When I
you're a
watch
political
Kamala,
nerd. Hey, I don't know what she does on the stump, but
oh god. when Kamala is speaking off the cuff, she's great. Like she talks with energy, she talks with passion. when she gives prepared remarks, it's so horrible. It's so
We
she's
did
like,
it,
you know,
Joe.
no, not even. I'm not even talking about that. I'm like, that shit was crazy when I saw that. But I'm saying, like, you watch her give a speech, and she's like, "This administration, we have put forward the largest investment in infrastructure." You know what I mean? And it like she's bad at she's bad off like reading on the teleprompter, and everything that they do is on teleprompter, right?
I
It's
don't know
just
if
that when
I'd
you
say
watch
Joe
somebody
is
like an
much better.
Obama's giving a speech on teleprompter, and it sounds like he's just riffing. You know what I mean? He's good at it. Biden isn't that good either. But part of the problem for Biden not being good is that Biden stutters. So he tries to go at a pace that's not going to make him stutter. You know what I mean? But Kamala's just bad.
Yeah. And you know, Barack smoked bogeys, so
she did too.
Yeah, but Barack is a different type of bogey smoker. Like Barack is the bogey smoker that
stand outside and stand out in the 20-degree
yeah.
weather. Like, let me get a square, nigga. Let me get a square.
Yeah.
I mean, Barack also said in this book that, you know, he tried a little booger sugar too back in the day.
Hey yo. Hey yo.
Of course he had to put that out now. Barack definitely packed
He
his
could have
bogeys
ran on
like
that.
this. This is definitely you know what? Barack Obama definitely flipped one cigarette as a wish. Like that's the bogey smoker that we need as a president. Like
I'm with that.
For real.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. We getting long-winded here.
2 hours. Another hour.
Yeah, we'd be all right. We'd be all right.
Mm-hmm.
So the gist of it though is watch this space. The VP will keep you posted on all things there is to know about the Democratic Party and those against them.
And then point 1B would be let's not be ageist. You know what we're talking about.
What? What did he say? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, pop a denture out once in a while.
Oh. I think I've been on the record to tell people how detrimental that was of Hillary not doing her job, and they call me Big Billy, Big Silly.
Right.
Listen, man. You want to believe that? Don't believe that Sex in the City shit that you want to. Even the president, okay?
You seen what Bill did. And if you ever see, I want somebody to look at me like Bill Clinton looked at Ariana Grande. That's all I'm saying.
Look what just giving head did for Monica Lewinsky. Millions later. It's a lesson to you. Let that be a lesson to you, ladies. I'm just saying.
Well, there's that. Can't post this episode. All right. Well, let's hand it over to the local feminist to dig us out of this hole.
Oh my goodness!
No coming back. There's no coming back.
No.
Well, you forget what you said earlier. Never mind. I ain't even gonna bring it up. Hopefully they missed that. Hopefully they just missed that one.
I don't think so. I'm looking at the chat comments.
Every once in a while, old man deserves a velvet rub. Yeah. Just saying. It ain't all about cooking no more. It's a new day. All right, VP. I'm gonna hand it over to you. This is a toxic episode.
I love it.
Probably end up in HR, but let me hand it over to you to get us up out of here.
Oh my god!
Hey, we definitely appreciate you guys for joining us today on this episode of the CastWorthy Podcast. For the folks who listen live and commented throughout, hey, we definitely appreciate you taking time out of your Sunday to rock with us. We definitely appreciate you giving us that time. For the people who will listen when the episode posted, we definitely thank you for taking the time as well. You can find the podcast on all podcasting platforms. Just search at CastWorthy. You can also find us on on all social media platforms at CastWorthy. On Instagram, it's at CastWorthy_podcast. While you're there, subscribe, follow, like, comment, tell a friend to tell a friend, help us grow the audience. And yeah, man, kind of the what I always say, COVID's still happening. Wear a mask. Hopefully you get vaccinated, boosted, all the stuff like that. Do what you got to do to protect yourself and your loved ones. And you never know when something's gonna happen, man. So if you're thinking about making a phone call, sending a text message, do it. Don't wait. You never know. So stay in contact with your people, with the people that's close to you that you love, just to say hello, how you doing, check in, etc., etc. Until next time, we will see you guys. Hope that you have fun, enjoy yourself as safely as possible, and we will see you on the next episode. We out. We love you. Peace.